Day 129. So, today, what I want to talk about, I was a little out of breath. I don't know what that was. Yeah, just making fun of myself as I do these lives. Okay, so 129. So yesterday I made the little typo and saying it was like day 127, but it was actually day 128, and so now we're back on track. It was bound to happen. 365 days live. I was bound to mess up a day in here and there. So just had yummy pan for breakfast. I made these really good oat pancakes that I like to make. And they're super tasty. I like pan fried blueberries, and I put that on top. So it was really good. The run was really good this morning. Actually, it was really what I needed. It was a little bit drizzling when I went out, so I just put my baseball hat and my raincoat, and it just went. And it was really good. And speaking of that, actually, one thing I wanted to come on here, and I realized I haven't done this, and that's just basically because I've been focused on these lives so much on everything relating to mindfulness and business and human design and all these things that there are some other stuff that encompasses who I am. And I have some guidance. So, Julie's running tips. So if you've never run before, or if you are a runner just starting, or if you want to run, don't know where to start, or if you do run and maybe some of these things that I've learned running may help you. So let's have a listen. Okay, so I've been running since at least 7-8 years. I started about 7-8 years ago. I think it was 7-8 years ago, something like that. I thought it was 5-6, but then I did some math and I'm no, it was longer than that. And yeah, in the beginning, I definitely found it was very challenging, but once I got the hang of it, once I found my own rhythm, I now love it. I go through phases where sometimes I just don't run, and that's kind of okay. Having started to run in Montreal, I used to not run the winters. So now being out here in BC, where I could basically run all year long in Tofino, I still kind of go through phases where there are a month or two where I don't run as much. And the past few months, I haven't ran as much as I wanted to because of my living situation. And so I still went out when I could, but it was not the same. It was not something definitely there was a lot of shifts in my routine and my cooking, and I was trying to, as much as I could, do the things that I normally would do if I had my own place. But some of the things just didn't fall into place, and I honor that, and I'm not hard on myself. So now I'm kind of getting back into it. Aiming at 3-4 times a week, but again, listening to my body. So if you've never run before, start small. Just when I mean start small, it's just don't go out there and start running for 5 minutes straight and just start small. 1 minute on, 5-minute walk, or just run as far as you can in that time frame, even if it's 30 seconds, and then walk the rest. And then after some point, start running, when you've catch your breath, run again. And that's how I started in these intervals, which was basically 1 minute. And then eventually that minute became a minute and a half. Then a minute and a half became 2 minutes. And so I always made sure that I was out for 30 minutes, even if I was walking for 29 minutes. And it's just it's still that intention of kind of starting that routine of getting out there and running. And so that is that is my main recommendation. Secondly, when you are running, it has to be a conversational piece. So you have to, unless you're doing fartlek or which is speed run, which is basically 1 minute super fast, 1 minute normal. Or if you make an intention, I know there are some people that make that intention to run 5 minutes, at a super fast speed, all out. But when you're just starting, or when you're just like running, normally you're supposed to run at a conversational pace. You're not supposed to like book it every time and be out of breath. Like the whole thing is like to, you know, just like run and enjoy it. And so when you're running, can you have a conversation with someone? Can you talk? If you are starting to run, maybe find a running buddy as well, because then you can like have that person next to you and start talking to them so that you can keep yourself at that pace, at that conversational pace. And I know like in the beginning, that's what I did. Like I would go and I would like book it, like run as fast as I can, because I thought that's what like I was supposed to do. But you're just supposed to have a conversational pace, even if that is like, you know, super slow. It's okay. Your pace will increase through time. And if it is something that, you know, you want to increase your pace for running, then you can do speed runs and fartlek, and then that is like a way to increase your pace and your endurance. If you are building for the distance, then just continue on with that conversational pace. Apps. I love the Nike Run app. The reason why I love the Nike Run app is, one, I just find it's easy, it's user friendly, and you can also input your shoes, which is really cool. So you can enter your shoes in and see how many kilometers or miles, depending on where you're watching this from, how many miles or kilometers you run on those shoes. Now, your shoes, like, you're not supposed to, like, there is like a limit on how much you can run on your shoes until eventually they need to be replaced. I don't remember what let me see if I can find it quickly. Running kilometer shoes. Yeah, replace running shoes. Yeah, 800 kilometers. So at 800 kilometers average, that is when you need to replace your running shoes. And so I like that Nike has that. I also go with how my feet feel with the shoe as well. I know my shoes are starting to run out, like, well, when they're actually falling apart, but sometimes they may not look like they're falling apart, but my heel starts to hurt, or like parts of my foot start to hurt. And so that's one reason why I like the Nike Run app. You can like input your shoe and then you can track your kilometers on there. The other reason why I love the Nike Run app is that it does have free runs that you can download. So you can download, and they have like a whole lot of different ones. Like they have speed runs. They have like kind of like a slow morning run. They got, you know, like if you're just starting, and basically it's a coach talking to you. So you can download it so it doesn't like use your data while you're running, and a coach is talking to you, and they're super motivating. Like I love the coaches that they bring on board, like the Nike Run coaches, because they are very motivating. Sometimes they also have athletes there, and they're just talking to you, and they're like, yeah, keep going, like you got this, like you're almost there. And it feels good. It really does feel good, and it's not tacky. It's actually like, you know, motivating. So that is my recommendation for the apps. I like the app I use. Secondly, it's also really important to have a playlist you love. So music that lights you up, that keeps you going, that kind of gets you out there and you're feeling jazzed up, you're feeling good. So whether it's like dance music, hip hop, I used to like run a lot to Girl Talk. So I love running to Girl Talk. It's really fun. It's a fun, like upbeat, and it's like different mashups of different songs. What else? You can also run with podcasts. So if you are someone who likes to learn while you're running or listen to stories, podcast is another good way to run with. Or if you want to switch it up too, like sometimes there are days where I'm like, I don't feel like listening to my playlist, so I'll put on a podcast. And then I do also know that Amanda Frances has she's a coach, and she has a podcast, and in her podcast she actually has like a running one, which is really cool. So it's a nice like beat to it, and it's basically affirmations. So if that is like your jam, go check it out, because I've ran with that too, and it's like kind of like it goes along like I am worthy. I forgot what it was, but it's like, you know, I'm abundant, I'm wealthy, all those things. So very important what you're listening to. Now, in terms of routine, everybody is different. So depending on if you like a routine, if you don't like a routine. If you are someone who, by putting yourself in a routine and a strict schedule, you're going to resist and not wanting necessarily to run, then don't do that. Give yourself the flexibility to run whenever you feel like it, whether it's in the first thing in the morning, whether it's midday or in the evening. Play around with it. And so if that is something like, if you are like, oh, I'm going to run every morning, and then like you resist to that, then listen to that. And maybe give yourself the freedom and the flexibility to go whenever you feel like it. Like, oh, okay, like, you know, maybe in the morning you wanted to sleep in, and then you realize like mid-lunch, like midday, that you have energy and you're like, actually, yeah, I could go for a run. And then that's when you go. But if you are someone that flexibility will not motivate you, and you do need that structure, that strict schedule, then do that. Find a time that you know that you would go. So if you love sleeping in the morning, maybe morning runs aren't your thing. Or like if you love like kind of having your morning routine of like just your morning coffee and a nice quiet morning and not necessarily getting up and, you know, running, then don't do it in the morning. Do it in the evening. Do it midday. But if you find in the evening, for example, you're so exhausted from your day that you're not going to go out for a run, then maybe switch around, find another time. And so this is where you can look at your schedule and see how you feel if you do want to create a very like structured schedule around running. Running shoes. Running shoes are very important. And obviously if you just started to run, I'm not going to stress too much about it. Just get a good pair in the beginning just to keep you going. But once you hit the 5K and you want to start running longer than 5K, investing in a good pair of running shoes is very important. And I highly, highly stress this because like after that 5K, you need the support. Like, it's like, even if you run just 5K regularly, if you're going to start running regularly, this is what I mean. If you're going to start running regularly, you need the support. Like, in terms of, like, it's good for when you have a good pair of running shoes, it's not only good for your feet, it's good for your joints, your knees, your hips, like, everything. It makes a difference. And thing is that why is a running shoe important is that everybody runs differently. Everybody, like, you have different pressure points on how you run, and like the arch of your foot, each arch of your foot is different. And so I know that when I first started to run, I went to the running room and I actually walked in front of the person, and they basically like saw how I walked, and then they asked me to run, and they saw how I run, and then they gave me a bunch of shoes to try on, and then I was testing them out in store. And then that's how I found my Nikes that I both now discontinued, but I found these Nikes, and I basically stuck to that, like that style, that brand for years until they discontinued. Now I'm still trying to find another pair. It's a little challenging, but if you do have a store like the running room that you can go in and speak to a professional to guide you with that, definitely go for it. Because it's a game changer, and you'll see like as you run more and more often, when your feet start to hurt, it's because you don't have the proper footwear. When your knees start to hurt, when your hips start to hurt, it's because you don't have the proper footwear. What other tip for running? Okay, stretching before and after, especially when you first begin running. So you want to stretch before and after. Your muscles are not used to it. They're not used to moving. If you get to a point where you get used to it, you can stretch after. I stretch after. I don't stretch before. But that, like, some people stretch before a run. So that is like kind of, it'll become a preference down the road. But in the beginning, definitely do before and after. You want to stretch your calves, your shins, your, what's called like quads, like hips. I really don't know the human body that well. I'm not I don't know biology that much. Okay. But you want to do like, yeah, hip openers, lots of hip openers, definitely your glutes, like just do that whole area, and definitely your shoulders. Okay. So your shoulders and your arms. The reason why is that is the part that we tend to miss. because we're so focused, like, oh, we're running, you know, we're using our lower half. But running, it uses your actual entire body. And you would sometimes tense up, you know, like sometimes you will run like this and you would tense your entire area here. So that just even when you are running, pay attention to that. And do some stretches, as you're running. Sometimes I'll do like arm circles, or I'll do this as I'm running if I find I'm tensing up here too much. And then after a run, definitely stretch this part out, because that just sometimes happens naturally, that you just we automatically go, what? And it just happens. So that is something to be mindful of when you are running. It is important to kind of go towards the ball of your foot instead of the heel. You're not meant to run on your heels like this. So try and kind of as if you're wearing, if you're a woman, and as if you are wearing high heels, you want to go towards the ball of your feet. And kind of not tiptoes, but the ball. Oh, what else? There's so many running tips. My brain. Have fun. Honestly, have fun. If you're constantly going out there and you're hating it, then find something else. Don't force yourself. Don't tell yourself, oh, running is what's gonna make me lose weight. As if when people say cardio makes you lose weight, lifting weights make you lose weight. If you don't like it, you'll find something else. And also start thinking about, what is your intention to run? Why are you running? Why do you want to run? And kind of connect back to that as well. And if you realize that you don't like it after some time, then don't continue doing it. If you find that you continue to love it, then keep going. Go for it. Yeah, what else? Have fun. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else. I really should have created a list. I decided to wing it instead. Whatever you're wearing, make sure it's comfortable. Don't wear stuff that's too tight that, you're not comfortable when you're running. Go to the bathroom before you run. Because as you're running, there is a pressure that goes on your bladder and also your small intestine and that whole area. So sometimes it is important to definitely go to the bathroom before, so that as you're running, you don't have to just pee in the first 5 minutes, because it kind of gets annoying. There's been times where I've gone out and I'm and I need to turn back around. So go to the bathroom before. Drink plenty of water after, for sure. Plenty of water after. If you want to do more long distance runs, then I do recommend getting a Camelback with the water, or getting the water bottles that are the belt. I can go, everybody's different, but I can do a 10K without water. Obviously at the end I drink a lot of water, but there's some people that can't. So if monitor for yourself, but definitely take it slow and see how far you can go without water. But if you see yourself that at 5-6K, you're hey, this is the point. When you do a 5-6K and you get home and you realize that, oh, that's the point where you need water, then if you want to continue doing 10K plus, then invest yourself in either a Camelback or the bottles. I prefer the Camelback. I think that is way more comfortable. It's light, and it's thin, and it's not too heavy. Whereas a water ball's swish. The water is just swishing, and it feels like you have weights on your hips. And so that's just personally, but there are people who love that. That's another one. Go and run in different places. Don't always run the same route, because when you run the same route, your body gets used to it. So it's kind of like the same thing as like if you're always going to be doing the same weights with the same reps and the same sets in the gym, your body gets used to it. So you're not really like pushing yourself, and it's just kind of like, oh, it's whatever. So switch your route. Go different routes. Go back where it's like, you know, let's say you're always doing a circle, but you're going clockwise, do it counterclockwise. Maybe drive somewhere and find a different route. Trail running is better for the knees versus gravel, but then again, depending on where you live. So that is like, yeah. Like gravel cement roads aren't the best, but if you live in the city or like here, there isn't much trail running where I live. It is what it is. You know, just get good running shoes. Play with elevation. Challenge yourself with elevation. That is, sometimes we just tend to run on flat straight surfaces, and yes, it's easier, don't get me wrong, but challenge yourselves with elevation. Elevation is a good way to challenge yourselves and speed run / fartlek. Like, and so I do that too. Especially like, let's say like there's a big hill like near my area, and I've always done it. I'm like, okay, so in the beginning, like how far can I just like run? And then even if it's just like an eighth of the hill that I'm able to do, I will continue walking the rest. And then the next time I go, I try and go a little bit further and then a little bit further. So it's kind of the same thing with like, you know, just increasing your distance. It's the same thing with the hill. And it just gives you something that is a little bit more challenging. If you do find running like itself a little boring, you want to add more to it, then you can do like your halfway point. Like halfway point, you can like stop somewhere and do burpees or do jumping jacks. Do squats, like, I don't know, just like, or find some stairs and go up and down the stairs. Like, get creative and do things that are fun for you. If you have a good song and you want to run dance, like I sometimes run dance and I'm like, oh, this is a good song, and I'm like running and dancing, and I've had like people honk at me and so I'm like, this is such a good song. Do that, have fun, you know, don't be so serious. And if you don't like running with an app and tracking how far you run, then that's okay too. Go out and play and have fun. I love tracking my runs because I love tracking my speed and tracking my distances and seeing how far I can go. What else? I think that's it. If you guys have any questions on running, anything, let me know. Put them in the comments and I will respond. I love running, and yeah, it's been something I've been doing for a while. I've learned a lot of things along the way. I don't know if this is better. Learned a lot of things along the way, and so this is all that I want to share with you, what I've learned about running. I can't think of anything else right now, but I think this is more than enough, to guide you. Also, for running shoes, I know Lululemon recently released a pair of running shoes. I have not tried them. It is on the list that I do want to try them because I have been looking for the pair since Nike discontinued mine. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because they have a 30-day free trial right now. And I don't know how long they're going to continue to do this, but if this is something like, you know, you're not sure, like, because the other brands don't really do that as far as I know. Some of the popular brands, obviously Nike, New Balance is another one. Yeah, there's just like a bunch. And if you do trail running, you may need different types of running shoes versus like the regular cement running. So you might want to go with actual trail running shoes because they'll have more grip at the bottom so that you don't slip and slide. Another one. Okay, I'm going to stop because like I'm a little bit all over the place right now and like everything is kind of coming. But yeah, any questions? Let me know. happy to guide you, happy to help you with your running and get you into the running game. My goal is 10K. I'm gonna get back into 10K this year. So, and then after 10K, we'll take it from there. But okay, that's it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.